Sharon August, who came up, developed, and is experimenting with a program called Targeted Intervention for Educational Development. Miss August, you didn't just arrive on the scene yesterday. Tell us a little bit about how you are where you are now. A little bit about your background, if you would.
Well, growing up, I got interested in special education because I had two brothers who had a lot of difficulty learning to read. As a teenager, I didn't know what that it was learning disabilities, but I felt that if I learned how to help people to read, then I could help my brothers and I could help other children who had that difficulty. And so I was told to go and get an associate degree after high school, so I did that.
Where did you go?
I went to St. John's College, Junior College, and I got my associate's degree. And then I got a scholarship to go and study in Jamaica, and I did a diploma in special education there. And I came back to Belize and spent a year at Stella Maris School working with children who had learning difficulties. And then I transferred to the special education unit where I became an itinerant teacher working with children across Belize district who had different learning difficulties, and training their teachers, supporting their teachers, and working with the kids, sometimes one-on-one to assist them. Then while doing itinerant work, I went to the University of Belize in the evenings, and I got my bachelor's in education, in primary education, and continued working with the special education unit. I did about 3.5 years as principal of Stella Maris School, and then I came back to the unit here. And now I'm working with the TIDE program, working with children who have reading difficulties and assisting them in improving in that area.
If I understand correctly, one of the key elements of your program is to work with students who are at risk, but who you have reason to suspect, with some help, support, and direct instruction, will be able to come up to grade level.
Yes.
Do I have that about right?
Yes, that's
Could you
right.
describe that a little bit more, if you would?
Okay, the TIDE program first starts with assessment, knowing what the difficulties the students are having, what the gaps are, and to see if there's an intellectual impairment. Once we know that the child does have the potential to learn to read, then we develop a program that targets specifically the gaps that we see in their learning. So then we are able to...
You're able to spot the gap where they have the problem?
Yes.
That's rather specific.
Right, it's very specific. Through the assessment, and you do a thorough assessment, you do intellectual, we do reading, we do phonics, we do sight words, comprehension, general knowledge. Through these assessments, we are able to determine where the gaps are that the child may have missed, and we know that by filling in those gaps and building on them, that children usually are able to then progress readily in their reading and their comprehension, and then that will help them to do well in all their subjects, not only in the language arts area.
One of the problems students have, the type of student you deal with, is motivation and a feeling of competence and self-esteem. Have you seen any changes in the students since you've been working with them in those areas?
Definitely. Many of the children who came to us when we started the program, when we told them that we were going to be giving them some tests, and one of the areas was reading that they'd be tested on, they told us outright that they can't read. And it's great to see within a couple months, these children are running around, coming to class, and they're saying, I can read, and they want to tell other people, they want you to say, they come and they say, Miss, let me read this for you, let me read that for you, and they want to show their parents, their other teachers, their friends, that they can read, and so they are excited about reading, and I think that is the best part of the job, seeing children who once thought that maybe they were foolish or they were stupid, that is why they couldn't read, and then a few months down the road, seeing them know for themselves that they are smart, that they are able to do reading and understand and write and so on.
Now, I've seen you in action, and I've seen your coworker, Mrs. Sabito, in action, and it seems to me you're very structured and very organized. Would you say that's a key to your program?
It definitely is. We plan a week in advance, and so when the new week starts, we know exactly what we want to cover. We have the activities, and with this kind of reading intervention, you can't be jumping from one topic to the other topic. You have to stay on a topic until the children get it, until they are able to understand and apply it, and then you are move on to the next step. So everything is very systematic, it's very organized, and you have to be prepared. And what we do also is we're building a lot of fun into their learning, so that they are playing games, but they are learning at the same time, and so on. They are drawing and they are learning at the same time. So they have fun and they like being here, and as you said, it's also very systematic.
Now, besides their self-esteem and their motivation, do you have any evidence that the program is actually working? That is, are the students improving in their reading?
Yes, yes, they are improving. We've seen children who came to us not being able to identify the letters of the alphabet, and now all our children, we have about 15 children in the program, and all of them know all their letters, they know all their letter songs. They're able to put their songs together to read words. Their other teachers have commented that they've seen such improvement in their classroom. The children are reading. They come to the class. They readily go and pick up books to read, and not only in this reading class, but in their other classrooms, they go and they pick up books because they know now that they can read, and they want to do that independently without even being instructed. They would want to pick up books and read.
I'm going to have the camera look around the room a little bit. I notice everything is labeled. I'm going to start on the wall that says sight words. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that? Okay,
the sight words wall is the adult sight words. That is our sight words wall, and we started with the pre-primary words because although the children were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, we found that they could not even read basic words like up and you and here, which are the first level of words. And as we continued on from there, they meet those words in sentences, they write their own sentences with them, and we give them in stories and they find those words. And so we are at the last set right now. We are at the grade 3 level sight words, and pretty much I would say at least half of our children are on the grade 3 words and have mastered the other levels. So,
marvelous. Now here there's something called consonant blends. Help me with that.
Okay, those are the blends that the children need to know, because when they meet certain words that have those blends, they need to be able to make the sound of the blends and then add on the ending of the words. Like with BR, maybe you have BR with ing, and so if they can say brr for the BR and they know ing is ing, then they can read the word bring, and so on.
Now I'm going to go behind you, and I noticed some information that would be handy for everyday use, not just for academics. It's some information about newspapers I'm looking at.
Okay. We wanted our students to understand that reading is not only what happens in the classroom, but their entire environment beyond the classroom also involves a lot of reading. So we do what we also call community reading. So knowing about the newspapers that are in Belize is a part of that community reading, and knowing the parts of the newspaper. We also want them to know, later on they get older, they're looking for a job, what part of the newspaper they can go to look for a job. If they want to rent a house later on, there's a part of the newspaper that would have advertisement for renting a house. There's important news, in the newspaper and so they would know, well, the headlines is what the editor would consider the most important news. And as part of their community reading, we also visit places to transfer the reading from the classroom to the community.
I'm going to ask you one more question. Would you see other schools being able to implement your program?
Definitely. Once a teacher knows how to break down the steps in teaching reading, once they know the components, which are things like the sight words, the phonics, reading comprehension, writing, spelling, and so on, and they're able to systematically put those in an order, and they do the assessment to know what are the gaps that child needs to fill in, then a school should have no problem being able to implement a reading program like this. And I believe the same way we have seen improvement in the students we have worked with, any school can see improvement in their students if they implement a reading program like this one.
Well, I can't thank you enough for letting me interview you and teaching me so much. I had an idea of what you're doing, but I had no idea the magnitude of your program. Continued good luck, and you are making a change in students that they will be thankful for eternally. It may take until they're 35 before they realize it.